What's going on, guys? Your boy XQ420. Welcome y'all back another episode of Beyond the Cube. I've got the powerful one
Beyond
with
it,
me.
like
Yeah,
way beyond it.
we're way beyond it. Okay, I got the powerful one with me as always. Corey Hughes repping the Denver Broncos. Corey, are you
God,
doing
I'm
well?
so. I swear to God, I'm gonna throw this motherfucking thing in the garbage today. I had like two people stop me to talk about the Broncos, and I don't follow shit
Did
because
they?
I just like the shirt because it's slick and it's not that hot. I can wear it over stuff when it's not too hot out or not too cold out. So I love it, but I'm gonna
Okay.
have to like only wear it around the house because motherfuckers keep asking me if I love the game on Sunday, and I'm like, I didn't watch the game on Sunday.
Hey, well, the Denver Broncos are actually actually playing well this year. They got a rookie quarterback.
Bo Nix.
Yeah, yeah,
See, I know
Bo
something.
Nix, and yeah, he had a big game last week. I think he had like 400 yards passing or something like
Yep.
that.
So I had heard a comparison to John Elway that John Elway sucked in the beginning and got better, and then he became a legend. And so people are hoping they got their fingers crossed that he could go the same route. But
Right. Well, you got to think. What was it? Peyton Manning, his first year, he had the most interceptions in the league. I think he threw like 30 picks. I mean, he was throwing it to the other team every game. Now,
I
look,
wonder do they take
everybody's
that into
first year can't be
consideration?
like,
You think? I mean, do they expect you to
what's
be
that?
gangbusters at the gate, or do they expect you to kind of screw up a little? I mean, how's that work when you're a coach? I mean, that guy better just do the
Okay,
shit, right?
right. Okay, so here's how it used to work. When you came into the league as a rookie, you never ever started. Like there was few and far in between as far as rookie quarterbacks who actually started. Peyton Manning was like one of the few where that actually happened. And he got the start right at the gate. Most of the time, he sat behind people, but now because there's so much big money involved in it, whenever you come in as a rookie quarterback, they're kind of expecting they're usually getting rid of a quarterback that's not that great. It's rare that teams draft early with somebody they see who has potential and then sit them behind their starting quarterback and him learn from there. Kind of like was it Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre, for like 4 years. Technically, Tom Brady didn't start when he got in the league, but Drew Bledsoe got hurt his rookie year, and then
Right.
that's history from there. So most of the time, the way it was, probably I say probably up to about 10 years ago, usually sat behind the starting quarterback. Because usually the starter was going to be way better than you, but with the way the league is, it's turning over people so quickly that you're kind of forced to start your rookie quarterback. But then that's where you get into an issue because now as a coach, the quarterback will probably outlast you if your team doesn't do well. So that's the problem. Like you end up losing your job. So it's kind of a fucked up situation.
Yeah. But
Because you got this concept of like, okay, I need to do what's best for the team so I can try to keep my job. But then you got like owners and management and things like, hey, you need to start that rookie quarterback so he can develop. You're like, but we're gonna lose a lot, then y'all gonna fire me. So yeah, kind of. Yeah, so I don't know. It's like terrible. It's like okay, you try to build this stuff up and then you get fired and somebody else comes in and reaps the rewards if it works out down the line. The coaches get fired first. It's hard to fire a player. The coaches usually get fired first, So, but hey, you Denver Broncos, hey, they may do something this year, and then Corey, you're gonna have to go to one of the parties.
you have to do something for sure. I wouldn't even mind
Yeah.
going to a game. I mean, I've been to a lot of Buccaneers games when I lived down in Florida,
Oh,
so
okay, okay.
I wouldn't
So
mind
you
going to
haven't
a.
been to a Broncos game? Get out there freezing
No,
cold,
so
icicle hanging off your nose.
those tickets, every game has been sold out for like 12 years or something like that.
Oh, is that right?
I saw a statistic the other day. It's been sold out. Every game has been sold out for fucking ever. So
Oh wow. So you gotta get in there early. You gotta try to get a ticket 5 years from now.
right, I don't know why. I
Oh.
mean, they're not that great. So
Yeah, they had well, you did have the years that you had Peyton.
true.
Do you remember Peyton did go to the
Yeah.
Broncos and they ended up winning the Super Bowl? They didn't win it because of him because he was pretty much deteriorated by that point in time. But their defense was so stout. That's when they went against Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, yeah. So they had. So I could see why it's probably sold out then. But then it's kind of been just real bad for
Well,
a
here's the
while
thing.
now.
Colorado's a place where people got a lot of the community pride stuff going on. I mean, literally,
Okay.
motherfuckers who live there the whole life wear Colorado t-shirts and Colorado hats. And you go out in public
Really?
and you will see people wearing, you will see more than one person wearing Colorado stuff in general, or Broncos, or there's a ton of that going on here. So
Oh, so what they call that? State pride?
I guess, I guess it's kind of always been that way here because we had a lot to be proud of. We got these beautiful mountains, best in the country, best hiking, best outdoor nature stuff, period. For a long time, the government was cool here until the Democrats went fucking crazy and wanted to cut everybody's balls off. Um, oh, this
What
is
about
funny. Speaking of
your
which,
sanctuary city?
that's the
Isn't Denver a sanctuary city? Is that right?
TikTok on that shit. That's all I got to say. So Jared Polis is our governor. He's been governor second term. I hope this is the last. I mean, our governor is restricted to 2 terms because this motherfucker needs to go.
It
So
depends on your state law. I don't know what your state law is.
he's one of these guys who is worth $500 million. He's the richest governor possibly ever. So
Mm-hmm.
when he was in Congress, he was a state representative in Congress for a number of years. While he was in Congress, if you looked at the list of the most invested in companies during the time that he was there, I mean, as far as Congress people go, what they were investing in, he
Mm-hmm.
literally he owned the top 5 out of 6 companies that everyone was investing in except for Apple. Like, they were literally his companies that he owns. He
Oh
owns a
wow.
company that I did a deep dive a couple years ago. I need to dig up my notes on this. He owns a company that's registered to a fucking warehouse, an empty warehouse in California. So he's got,
Okay.
so dude, his name was mentioned in the Panama Papers. I mean, he is fucking dirty. And I think he was thinking he was in line for the presidency. But he's Jewish and he changed his name so he didn't sound Jewish. But everyone should know this. We're not going to have an outright Jewish president because they don't want that attention. They control everything behind the scenes. They don't need the fall guy to be Jewish too. So you're never going to see
It's
an
too
overt
overt.
Jewish
Is that
president.
what you're
Yeah.
saying? Too overt.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll have crypto Jews in there like Lincoln and like Johnson. Lincoln and Johnson were
Mm-hmm.
Jewish as it gets. So
Okay.
Johnson was raised, just here's another example. Ron DeSantis. He's Jewish as it gets too. That motherfucker was raised by a Jewish mother, raised in all the Jewish customs. As soon as he makes the decision to go to politics, he's not a Jew anymore. Kind of weird how that works, right? You can kind of pick and choose when you're Jewish if you're a politician.
Well, yeah, it's true. This is true. We read that it's hard to actually tell if somebody's Jewish or not. They can just kind of happen, or maybe not happen.
You see, once upon a time, you could tell if someone was Jewish because they were circumcised or not. You see, back in the old days, you had to
Oh,
mark your
okay.
slaves some way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they did it. But it wasn't no white people doing it; it was all black people. So,
Oh, is that circumcising the penis,
right.
cutting
That's
the
most likely
foreskin
where
off?
that starts. That probably started when Jews were slaves in Egypt and all that stuff. So,
Okay, so when they whip that thing out, they're like, "Oh yeah, you definitely a Jew. No
mhm,
foreskin on you."
well, they weren't called Jews then. They were the Israelites, or they were
Okay.
Hebrews,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
the ancient
Yeah.
shit,
The
whatever. The point is, there was no white people in Africa doing shit. So, it was people of color for sure.
you don't. I mean, maybe one or two white folks.
No,
Okay.
they probably kill them. They saw a white person, they probably just murder them on the spot. I mean, that's how it went back in the day. Back in the day, your color
Oh, yeah.
differentiated what tribe you were with, right? And so
And Coy won't give them nothing, man.
nothing, zero.
I mean, come on now. Okay, so I see how we spoke a little bit about the sanctuary city. Um, there's been a lot of talk right now recently about a lot of these states saying that they'll fight tooth and nail to keep every illegal there, but whether they'll kill somebody or hang them outside or
Here's the
rob
deal.
your place or
Um, Trump and his administration are going to push the boundaries of legal every chance they get. And
hmm
anytime they have an opportunity to change a law to make it easier for them to round people up and deport them, they're going to do it. And then it's going to get to a point where they're going to go in and do it and be like, go ahead and sue me. And they're not going to care if they lose.
hmm
because Trump is not going to stop. I don't see his administration stopping because a judge tells him you can't do this. The last administration put 350,000 goddamn fucking people from around the world on airplanes and flew them here in blatant violation of our fucking laws in this country. They made an app and said
Right.
they're all asylum seekers. It was blatantly illegal. So if you got to stoop to blatantly illegal means to get these fucking people out of the country, you go right ahead and do that as far as I'm concerned. Because the longer they're here, the more disgusting our country is, the more fucking worn out it is, the more taken advantage of it is. We got to get rid of these people, and we got to get rid of them now.
Well, they said that they're doing critical jobs, man. That's what I've been told. I got a couple videos. I got a couple videos for us of
So they passed this is funny. They passed a law here, or it got voted to pass here in Colorado to allow Denver Police Department to hire people who are non-citizens.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You know who voted
That's
against
like,
that? You know who voted for it and then voted against it?
who's
White
that?
people voted for it and minorities voted
Mhm.
against it. That's how, and there was an article in the paper, basically an article came out with these fucking goddamn liberal quote unquote journalists here in Colorado who basically were saying
Mhm.
that all these people of color were racists. And that was what the article was about.
The people of color are the true white supremacists.
That is this dude. We live in crazy world. You know, this is inversion time. So yes, you know, up is down, left is right. We're
Well,
through
you
the
got to
looking
be careful
glass.
because liberal white people got that white guilt, and I
Bro,
don't
that
they
white
can't
guilt.
get past it. They can't get past it. I mean, they feel like they were blessed by the gods to be white, and they just forever will have to try to right this wrong of them not being born in a body of color.
I just don't understand how people who've never done anything, who've never committed any acts of malice against other peoples would feel guilty because people 200 years ago did some shit. That's a fucking trip right there. That's a
Yeah.
trip right there.
Yeah, how you
Um,
manage to convince people that you should feel bad,
yeah,
or what your great granddaddy did,
yeah,
who didn't even know you were going to be here.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, bud. And
And I
look,
don't
man.
even. And the thing is, like, the people, these liberals are so fucking racist, and they feel, and they're the racist ones. Everything they do is based on their own guilt, and not I don't not maybe not necessarily maybe not even guilt because they were taught to be guilty, but maybe they just subconsciously feel like they're at fault. I don't
Right.
know. I don't figure it out. I don't feel guilty over much. So
Yeah. Well, we seen them. I mean, it was I would say 2020 was definitely 2020 2021 was definitely the height of white guilt. I mean, you talk about they were out there bowing and
well, here's the thing.
kissing,
Like,
and Chick-fil-A guy was rubbing feet and
this is
all kind
my
of stuff.
take on that. So
Hmm.
the path to imprisonment was COVID, and that was a failed coup.
Hmm.
You could tell as COVID was starting to fail, they were pivoting to the message, to whatever new message was going to come. We had that James O'Keefe video where he interviewed the guy.
Hmm.
He said, "Yeah, when COVID's done, we're going to push climate change and this other stuff." And that's what they did. The split second they realized COVID was failing, they had to go to backup plan. You know, they had to go to plan B. And Trump is the absolute proof that all that failed. I mean, really, from March, right? Let's go back even further. Let's go to February of 2020 and stretch that through to honestly till Trump gets in office. That's going to be considered an era, in my opinion.
Oh
That is an
yeah.
era,
Hmm.
and it was an era that we almost got taken over by fucking communists, which is what that is. All the shit they you got to understand, like the not necessarily communism, Marxism. There is kind of a
Right.
difference,
Hmm.
right? And Marxism touches more on the social aspects, and we were being dragged one way or another, whether we liked it or not, through this woke fucking attempt to convert us all, right? Make us feel guilty about
Hmm.
shit. And it started with I think it basically it started with COVID, and they realized once they could do all the shit they were doing with COVID and the vaccine and how they were demonizing people, they realized they could use that playbook against people who were not going with the woke shit. And so
Right, right.
that backfired gloriously because Trump, I don't even like Trump. I'm not a Trump guy. Everybody should know this. I'm not a fucking Trump guy. But the alternative was straight up fucking Soviet Russia in 1962. That was the alternative with Kamala fucking Harris.
Yeah, the
So
alternative was not good.
it was not
Okay.
acceptable on any level at all. And
Yeah.
so I'm really hoping that Trump gets in to make some fundamental changes and we don't have to ever have a conversation about what are they pushing on us this time, you know? So
Right, right. Well, they seem to be they're talking a good game. We'll see what happens when they get in there and who will actually be opposed. But I got a couple videos, Corey, and we got some people who are who's saying that they're gonna fight tooth and nail to make sure that they are able to keep every illegal. Okay. I think what's the first one? I think the first one is Katie Hobbs. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, the
I
one
hate Katie Hobbs. I mean, I
who
fucking hate
one
it.
who did yeah, one who ran her own counted the votes for her own election. Ain't nothing sketch about that. But Corey, they're still counting votes in multiple places.
They can count all they want.
They, they, I,
They
I,
can count till they blew in the fucking face.
they still count
Ain't nothing
votes.
gonna change.
Even in my state, they still count votes. I'm like,
Did Trump win North Carolina? Yeah, he did, didn't he?
yeah, yeah, but it's not for the presidential so much as for the Senate races.
Right. Well, I think we already, I say we, the Republicans already grasped the majority in both. So at this point,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
don't.
gravy if they give it pick them anymore.
Yeah,
Are they
I
still
don't.
counting the fucking? Are they still counting Kerry Lakes, or should you lose? Because I ain't heard nothing about
Uh,
that.
well, I think Arizona's still counting all the way around. California's still counting. That's like 8 states. I'm like, well, I'm trying to figure out what's taking y'all so long. I thought you just ran it through a machine.
Yeah,
Are
but
they
then when the
hand
machine
counting it?
gives you when the machine gives you an answer you don't like, you have to go back and hand count it. And when that answer you don't
I
like,
got you.
you got to get the printer up and running. Printer go burr.
All right, so let's see what Katie Hobbs had to say.
When hearing about the Trump administration's plans for border security, the emphasis really is on this mass deportation. What we saw here today is the actual work happening at our ports of entry that are interdicting drugs, keeping those drugs off our streets, and we need more of that to secure the border here.
As you know,
Keeping
Trump has
drugs off the
promised that
streets
he would carry out mass
secures the
deportations
border.
on.
Yeah.
I thought how about if you secure the border, it'll keep drugs off the streets. How about like you reverse that, bitch?
Well, she's kind of put on the spot, Corey.
Oh, that's right. And they don't have the processing power when
Yeah,
they're
they
put
ain't
on the
got. They
spot.
probably ain't got a teleprompter or nothing up there. So it's like, hey, you're gonna have to go. You gonna go off the cuff on this one. They're like, whoo. Okay, don't hit me with that too hard. I will fuck it up. Oh
On day
man.
one of his presidency. Your state is estimated to have 250,000 undocumented immigrants. Some Democrats in your state, like Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, say that she wouldn't allow police to be used to carry out this plan. Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities. And I've been incredibly clear about that.
Okay, misguided efforts that harm the community. Corey, give what does that mean? It's it'd be yeah,
So
misguided.
misguided. No, misguided is if he went around and just shot them all. That would be misguided. Attempting to get him out of the country by putting him on a plane, I think, is a luxury. I think they should just chain them all together and have them walk to the southern tip of South America. That's what they should do. Just keep walking, keep going.
Oh, man, hey, look, I like how she used those words there. The misguided effort. I was like, I mean, because of course they talk about how a lot of these people have already been served papers that they need to get the hell up out of here. What was it? They say anywhere between 1.3 to 1.6 million have already got their deportation papers and they have yet to leave yet. So I mean, that would be a good place to start, you know. And it seems like a lot of these places they just want to harbor them, for whatever reason. I mean, I
Here's the
would I would
thing.
assume that.
These motherfuckers are
Hmm.
just as racist as everybody else. And they don't want these goddamn
Hmm.
migrants in their fucking town either. However, they got to maintain this political face. They got to maintain the
Oh, okay.
front.
Hmm.
So, I mean, do you really think that this lady wants a bunch of migrants living around her?
Not
Never.
they definitely ain't
Not.
living around
She's more
her.
racist. We already talked about this. They're more racist than fucking we are, right? So it's just ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous. People like this, Trump should put in prison. Really, I'm all for labor camps and re-education camps for the right people.
Man, it's never a great place.
So you disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts.
She's stuck on a
keep
talking
harm out of
point.
our communities.
She's stuck on the drug talking point. Stop. Nobody gives a fuck about the drugs. Okay, that's a secondary issue.
Well, I mean, wouldn't a lot of them who were probably coming in illegally, wouldn't they? A lot of times they end up smuggling drugs in.
Yes. But let's be
I
real.
mean, that
Do you think people like this, like Katie Hobbs in her probably multi-million-dollar house she lives in from being a politician who makes 200 grand a year, she doesn't give a goddamn fuck if anybody overdoses on drugs because she looks at drug users as though they are second-class citizens to begin with. So she's putting up this fight for people that she looks down upon, and no matter what. So, but deep down, she don't give
gotcha.
two fucks about nobody but herself, and of course the Democratic Party because they protect each other, even though they don't have a goddamn moral backbone or any kind of platform to stand on.
It's true.
We need those resources here, and the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
What would worry you the most, Governor, about mass deportations?
Well, I think the diversion of law enforcement from the work that they do every day to keep our communities safe. People hiding in fear. We saw that under previous state policies here, and it harms communities. It tears families apart, and that's not gonna happen on my watch.
Dear God, I mean, uh, can we get some of these people like some speaking classes or something? I mean, my goodness, dude. I mean, she fumbling and rambling. I know that she's trying to go uh, through the required reading and statements that they have for all the Democratic leaders, but damn, I mean, Corey, she was just like, uh, well, shit. I mean, just spit it out.
Yeah,
Just
it's
spit it out. So that lets you know that she doesn't even. I don't think she doesn't even believe what she's saying.
no, she definitely does not. I think it's pretty obvious that she stole that election with Kari Lake for sure. And it was I watched some of the court proceedings over that, and
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty clear it was a team effort, and they obfuscated that trial like something fierce, and the judge even appeared to be in on it too. So it was fucked
Or
up.
there's something always to be said when you're over the counting of your own election. I'm like, that can't be the case. Like you can't be the overseer of them counting the votes for your own election. It's just like,
Yeah, she
is
was
that
in
not
that
a
room.
conflict of interest?
Oh, it is, and the judge didn't seem to care. I don't know what happened if it ever. I don't think it ever got to the Supreme Court. I don't know why it didn't.
Mm-mm.
Did she ever
No,
take
they
it
just
beyond
shut it
Arizona?
down. Yeah, they just shut it down. Pretty much. It's just like is there not any laws or anything in place so this doesn't happen? I mean, it's just
I
it
mean, we live
seemed
in a
pretty
lawless
clear
fucking
cut.
cesspool at the moment.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
rules that
Oh
apply to
yeah.
us
Well,
don't apply to them politician people.
yeah. In Pennsylvania, actually, because Pennsylvania's still counting votes for one of their Senate races, and lo and behold, I believe if I'm correct, I seen where they had 100,000 ballot drop all of a sudden. Signatures weren't there and all that stuff.
The one that was
That
like
was
90%
90% for
Democrat.
the Democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 90%. And the thing is that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, which is 5 Democrats and 2 conservatives, Republicans, they voted that it was illegal for them to continue counting votes, and they said, "I don't give a fuck." I mean, that's what they said.
The greatest thing is when people say shit like that on television because they're arrogant, and then it comes back to haunt them through the court system, which is probably what's going to happen. I think it's already in process, and they're already getting orders to stop the counting,
Yeah,
but they don't seem to give a fuck. So,
yeah, they don't. They just like, okay, sounds good. We appreciate your input, and we're gonna keep doing it. I was just like, that,
if you're in a position like on an election board or an election team, some that should be a ticket to prison immediately.
mm-hmm.
Do not pass go.
Yeah,
Do not collect $200. You go straight to jail.
yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, that's it to a T right there. I'm like this. Now, of course, if it had been something else that would have been in their favor, of course, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll enforce that immediately. But in this particular case, seeing how it seems like they may be trying to pull some shenanigans, you know, we're just going to continue doing what we're going to do, and you'll have to come get our ass. And it doesn't seem like, depending on where you're at, that they'll actually send somebody for you, unless you go totally against the mantra of what they're trying to accomplish. Say a Eric Adams, which I don't know when they're gonna get him, but they're eventually gonna get him, and he's just on a fuck you tour right now. You know what I'm saying? That's
Watch,
what
he'll
he's
come out as a
pretty much on.
Republican and run again.
Yeah, he went on the View right here recently. I think it was last week. And he's like, hey, we need to stop with all this rhetoric with, Trump, Hitler, and fascists and all this stuff and move on. Like Joe Behar and them was like, you know what I'm saying? They were taken aback. They were like, you're not a Negro. They were about to take his black card. I said, Eric, you're going to lose your black card today, dog. This shit is a damn fecal thing, but you damn. Boy, you just wake up one day and that shit gone. It's disappeared. You go back to ask for it and say, no, sir, go and join your white supremacist friends. I think that's how this works. Okay, you just wake up one day, you no longer have your card, and then you got to join your white supremacist friend. Actually, I got a little something right here. Miss Crockett. She was up there in front of Congress, and she went on a little bit of rant about uh about how white folks ain't never been oppressed.
Really?
I don't know where she's
I'm
been,
oppressed right now.
but I'm like, okay, so let's see what she got to
Is
say.
because
Oh, this bitch.
misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country.
You're not oppressed. You're a congressman.
White men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work.
Well, you were sold by other black people to Jews.
We are
And
going to
then Jews were 78% of slave owners. So
Hey, but hold on. That's not the way she says it happens now. I'm gonna let her get through it.
wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We not the same migrants.
well, she can go.
If y'all constantly
There's somebody out there who'll buy her a ticket.
Oh yeah, they get a ticket today.
we didn't run away from home. We were stolen.
There it is, Corey. They were stolen in the thick of the night.
Should have run faster.
I mean, but look, they got to know history, right? Like they won't.
Oh no, they still
There
think
won't
the
no
Nazis
white
had
folks
gas
that
chambers.
came
These
in.
people are morons.
There won't no bunch of white people who came up on the damn beach and went into the village and just rounded all y'all up. No, man, it's not how it worked,
Yeah,
bud.
they went
We
up
were
there
straight up sold.
like D-Day style, like the beaches of Normandy, and just grabbed all the black people and said, "You're coming with
Yeah.
us."
That, no, I believe that's how a lot of people think it was.
Well, the reality is that people all over the world have been enslaved and used as slaves all over the
Yeah,
fucking world. The Irish, when they came here just 150 years ago, you know? So it happens
yeah,
to everybody, and get
yeah.
over it. And
So
none of us
yeah,
were slaves.
we are going to sit
Mm-hmm.
here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like and don't let
Does
it
she got some
escape
titties,
you
though?
that it is white men
Yeah.
on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being
Is y'all in the
harmed.
dictionary?
It's because
She I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, she was like, hey, look, white people ain't never been oppressed. They've never been disenfranchised, dragged out of their homes, enslaved. Yeah, none of that. They've never been. The women hadn't been taken from the whatever villages and raped and things of that nature.
Oh, look at this
Yeah, it's
first
never
article that
happened.
pops up. When Europeans were slaves, research suggests white slavery was much more common than previously believed. No, it's not that it was more common than previously believed. It was more common than you knew, you moron who wrote this article. That's how it should be titled. A new study suggests that
Yeah,
a
but
million or
hey,
more European Christians were enslaved by Muslims in North Africa between 1530 and 1780, a far greater number than had ever been estimated before. Yeah.
mm,
The Barbary Pirates.
mm,
That's what this was. This was the Barbary Pirates deal. Most other accounts of slavery along the Barbary coast didn't try to estimate the number of slaves or only looked at the number of slaves in particular cities. Most previously estimated slave counts have thus tended to be in the thousands or most tens of thousands. But by contrast, this researcher has calculated that it's between 1 and 1.25 million European Christians were captured and forced to work in North Africa from the 16th to 18th centuries. So here's a quote from the guy, and then we'll wrap this one up. Much of what has been written gives the impression that there were not many slaves and minimizes the impact that slavery had on Europe. Most accounts only look at slavery in one place or only for a short period of time, but when you take a broader, longer view, the massive scope of this slavery and its powerful impact becomes clear. So yeah, Barbary Pirates, people, look it up.
yeah, there it is. There was a guy. I think was he on a show with Theo Vaughn? I'm not sure, but he's an Asian guy, I believe Korean,
Oh, yeah,
and
I
he was
saw
like,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, he's like, man, Koreans, said Koreans, they don't, right? They didn't have slaves and stuff like that. They were like Korea had like the longest running slavery, like active slave trade of
Why the
all
fuck
time.
everybody got
It's
to
like,
one up each other on suffering? Oh, my
yeah.
ancestors suffered worse than yours. Like, why do people got to do that shit? It's nonsense. It's ridiculous.
Hey, look, I don't know, man. Like they just hung up on it.
People love
Look,
it's
man,
like the oppression Olympics.
oh yeah. Being a victim has became popular. Actually, it's actually better to be a victim, and then like to try not to overcome or get past that, like to remain in the victimhood. So forevermore, people will have to feel sorry for you for some odd reason. I mean, I'm not sure why, but I think that you're in one of the best times of mankind altogether right now. Like, like literally, like if you took somebody and you put them about 500 years back, I'm talking about like if you took mentality, mindset, maybe not so much. We can
Well,
take
we're
away
on a
the
downhill
technology
slide from the
aspect.
80s. Just we're on a downhill from the 80s. I think the 80s were the
Okay,
peak.
okay, well that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But I'm talking about like relatively. So like right now, like folks won't just let you die. Okay, 500 years ago, they let you die. Like you ran out of food, you were kind of secluded, you just died. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people talk about, man, I don't want to get up and go to work and all that. Well, if you didn't get up and go to work and tilled your fields and make sure your cattle, got fed and all that other stuff, then you didn't have any food, and then you died. You know what I'm saying? And there won't really nobody there to really help you. It was just it. Now you got government assistance. We give you an EBT card. We give you a cell phone. We give you Section 8. You know what I'm saying? And so we actually keep a whole lot of people alive. Whereas 500 years ago, these people would just not exist. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, I guess I guess they say that you don't want people to quote unquote die, but it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel some type of way with people who don't do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I got this.
I will play devil's advocate for 1 second, just
Okay.
to reminisce about the old days. If you're born onto this planet, you're really not asking to be here, and then you're thrown into a situation where you just got to work your whole life. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand how people be upset about that, but they fail to acknowledge greater philosophical points from the experience itself, and thus they're spiritually lazy. That's ultimately the problem,
Okay.
because they're
Okay.
failing to grasp the larger scale philosophical implications of self-determination. There you go.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that was intriguing. I mean, you hit me with something there. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Because I have gone through
But I
over my
still,
life, course of my life, I've gone through various um, thinking on that. And the one thing I've come to realize is that I'm almost 50 years old and I've worked my goddamn ass off my whole fucking life. And I barely have a
what?
pot to piss in. And so when people don't do shit and then they want something, it's like, I solved the Kennedy assassination. I should be a fucking millionaire. What the fuck did you do?
Oh man, that's it. Well, I guess that's the true one up. Well, you see, Corey, you've lived many lives
I've lived too
in
many
this one
lives.
life. You lived many lives. You
I feel
see,
like I'm
I've
100
lived.
going on fucking 200.
Yeah, I've lived one life pretty much. That's it. I did have my the years of my career. I call it my career, my 10-year career. Um, Partying career. I'm very proud of it. I was a pro. You know what I'm saying? And to be a pro, like people don't understand what it means to be a pro when it comes to your partying career. This means no DUIs, no jail time, no fights where you get beat up or you got to beat somebody up. I was a pro. I was a pro at this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'll get drunk. I get back to the house. No harm, no foul. I had one time where there was almost a bump up. Okay, but it took some quick thinking. And I tell this story to people. But there was one night we were coming back from downtown. I was in the left lane, and I look over in the right lane, and this person just keeps looking to the left lane to me. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They just keep looking over here in the left lane. I'm like, okay, so I keep driving. Then all of a sudden they turn in front of me because I believe they were looking for a parking spot, and they seen one. I tapped them and I tapped them right in the back. Like I slammed on brakes, tapped them in the back, pulled right off, went right home. I had three people in the car with me, and they were like we got back home, and they were shaking. They were like, and I was like, all right.
You've been
It
drinking?
was like, oh yeah,
All right. So here's the deal. You did the smartest thing you ever did in your life. Okay.
mm-hmm,
I was a DUI guy for many years when I was a cop. I really enjoyed doing them because it was a long procedural thing and I got really good at the whole routine of it. And this one I'll never forget this motherfucker. I knew I had a DUI crash and everyone's like, he went home
mm-hmm,
and we had his license plate. And
mm-hmm.
I get to the house as the door is closing. Like, I'm not even joking. I see the door close and any DUI was off the table. The split
That
second,
was it for that.
that was
Mhm.
it for that. Because I couldn't prove that he didn't drink after the crash. He could have said, he could have got
Yeah.
home. Here's the deal. If you fucking ever get in a DUI crash and you happen to have alcohol on you, you get out of that car and in full view of everybody, you start drinking
Start
that
drinking.
alcohol. Yep. Because every witness will say, yeah, he got out of the car and just started drinking this bottle or whatever the fuck. And there goes the DUI.
Oh,
Because they'll never be able to
I'll be
prove
damned.
that you were not drunk first, right? So the split second you're out of the
I'll be
car and
damned.
you drinking that shit, you'd be like, yeah, I just started drinking. You can't prove otherwise. So, and here's the thing: some redneck cops will probably take you to jail anyway and get the case kicked. But like someone who knows DUI really well will avoid that with like a 10-foot pole. So, yeah, that was the right thing. This motherfucker got away and he got home, and I fucking arrested him for leaving the scene, but I couldn't get the DUI because I couldn't prove it.
Oh yeah,
So,
because you couldn't prove it. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. I immediately I went right back home. That I actually still have that car. It still got the slight battle scar in the front. I wanted that to be,
you, you mean that battle scar?
it's
You should call it evidence. That's what that is.
it's a battle scar, is what it is. I don't know where that battle scar came from. Just know that it is scarred. Okay. Oh man, this was many years ago. Godly, it had to be 13 years ago.
I got to knock on some wood myself because I partied pretty damn hard from the time I was in, get on the senior year, 17, 18, till I don't know what time is it. And I ain't had any fucking problems with the cops. I've been pulled over and searched a bunch of times, never had anything found. But there's plenty of times that I just roll the dice, So I'm grateful to whomever
Oh
for,
yeah. What?
the
Yeah.
Lord
I knew
Almighty.
I had to. Yeah, I knew I had to get out though. Like I had to get out, and you know, when I started dating my current girlfriend, which I've been with for 10 years, that kind of gave me a reason to get out, most definitely at a point in time because I didn't need to do it anymore. I was like, because it was just something I was doing. It's not who I
Mhm.
was. Like I never missed it. Like we'll have a Christmas party in a few weeks, and I'll do a little drinking at the Christmas party. But other than that, I don't know. I kind of have to have a social thing in order to do it. So yeah, it all has to be social. Because I mean, I probably got 10, 11 bottles of liquor here, and I don't even touch them like at all.
Well,
But for
they look
some
good on
reason,
a
I always
shelf.
need to be out and about. Yeah, they do look good. Shit, we put a light behind them. Put a light behind them and everything. Yeah, but yeah, I think I had a pretty good career. I know a lot of people. Actually, one of my buddies, I was actually out of town. You see, I was the resident driver whenever it was time for us to go out because I had a minivan. Okay, and so the minivan, it just looked like, hey, yo, they coming back from a trip. You know what I'm saying? It was a
Hmm.
minivan. Ain't nobody. The minivans are not. You don't suspect that. But for that weekend, I wasn't here, and he got in an argument with his girlfriend, which became his future wife, which became his ex-wife now. And we all work at the same place. But but he got in an argument with her, and he jumped in his ride, and there was somebody that was sober there. It's like, hey man, I can drive home. You know what I'm saying? I can drive. He said, fuck no, it's my car. I drive my car. Nobody else drive it. And so him, his girlfriend, and another one of my buddies, they were like, well, we ain't gonna ride with you, you know. But eventually, he told his girlfriend, "You getting your ass in this car." Well, he ran a stoplight or a stop sign and almost like T-boned the cop. Like the stop sign he ran, he almost T-boned the cop,
No
and
shit.
he got the DUI. He got the DUI that night. It's just and somebody was sober. It's just like somebody was sober. Now I like what his lawyer had told him. Okay, his lawyer told him, he said, "Look, man, let's not go to trial instantly. Let's hold out. Maybe the cop won't show up, or maybe he'll die." I'm like, "Oh, so the case will get dropped." I'm like, that's hope. I said, your lawyer was hoping for the cop's death. I mean, for you to get out of this, I'm like, that's that's probably not good. So he prolonged it for like a year and a half, and it ended up going to court anyway, and he had to have that breathalyzer.
Most
What's the
people,
breathalyzer? 2 years? 3 years?
I think it depends on the case.
Mm-hmm.
DUIs always, man, 99% of the time, DUI will get a conviction. If you try to get out of it on technical terms, and it has actually before a jury, like
Mm-hmm.
juries don't really like that. But DUIs, I
Oh,
find
okay.
that it seems like they always there's always an assumption of guilt there.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. So I did it. I worked a DUI case once that absolutely, without question, should have been thrown out from the jump. And
Oh, okay.
I realized I had a problem after the guy talked to me. He was Spanish, but he indicated he understood what I was saying to him. Right on film, we had
Mm-hmm.
him saying, "I understand," but it was kind of broken English. And so I end up going through DUIs are complex, right? So I end up going through all the field sobriety, all the stuff, all the questions. He answers the questions the best he could. And I get him back to the station, and we're in the breathalyzer room. And when you do the breathalyzer, you have to have there's an implied consent aspect. And so you have to read this long fucking thing. And I'm reading
Mm-hmm.
this long fucking thing to him, and I can just totally tell he doesn't understand a fucking word I'm saying. And I'm sitting there going,
Oh,
holy
okay.
fuck.
The language barrier.
Language
Language barrier.
barrier. Well, that case went to fucking trial with a jury. He got convicted. And it never should have happened, honestly. But you're not going to go and tell him, hey, this guy shouldn't have gone to jail. You always go through with it. But
Mm-hmm.
that guy got convicted. And it was a bad case because that language barrier obfuscates his ability to
Mm-hmm.
understand the technicals of a DUI. And the jury didn't give a fuck. The jury just rolled with it. As soon as they saw it was an accident, he was intoxicated, and probably because he was Hispanic, didn't hurt for them, and they just convicted him on the spot. Just because juries are racist. If you get a white female jury, they're racist.
Is that something that's automatic?
I don't see. Here's the deal: like you're supposed to have a jury of your peers. Well, who the fuck are your peers? Are a bunch of liberal
Oh,
white
yeah,
women
that
my
is true.
peers? I don't know. I'm sure there's been case law over the definition of your peers, but
Uh,
you know, you get a certain
huh.
makeup of a jury, and it's not going to go the right way for you. So
You know what? You're right about that. It said jury of your peers. Yeah, if you're Spanish speaking, wouldn't you have to get Spaniards? Spaniard descent?
well, let's look it up. What's the definition of peers in the sense of a court?
Uh, okay. Well, I guess it could just be same age group. Maybe. Oh, let's see, peers. You got it up. Let's see.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. I keep getting
Lord.
shit about fishing piers.
Okay.
How the fuck do you spell a pier anyway?
Oh,
P-E-R.
Peers. Yeah. Okay. The meaning of peer is one that is of equal standing with another. What does that mean? Okay. Here we go. We're gonna Merriam-Web. So belonging to the same. Well, I don't know. But this says especially belonging to the same societal group, especially based on age, grade, or status. Huh. So yeah, that would kind of throw it off, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If we're talking about social status. Uh, let's see here. Let's see if we can get something. No, that's pretty much it. Or we can go British. Appear you got to be a member of one of the five ranks: Duke, Marcus, Earl, Viscount, or Baron. I
The system
mean,
in over there is fucked. Like their system's just a joke. You get arrested, you're going to prison. That's how it goes over there.
so oh yeah, because folks getting thrown in jail left and right for posting stuff
Yep.
on social media.
Yep. They sure are.
Isn't that right? Isn't that what's happening right now?
Yes, and there's some countries looking to do some sort of online identification thing to verify who you are before you can log into fucking Twitter. Like, go suck a dick. Never.
Well, you can log into Twitter. Is it deep? I'm trying to figure out why it's deep like that over there. Like, and folks talking about I want to move. Oh, I think they said Ellen DeGeneres said it. She's officially moving to Britain. Yeah,
These
because
fucking
Trump
these
won.
snowflakes will all be
Said
back.
that was the final. Said that was the final straw.
Yeah, going to stay at your second house that you have in Britain is not moving to Britain.
Well, they didn't. They didn't quite say it like that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't quite say it like that, but it's all good. Oh, Corey, I want to take a look at some politics around the world. This is some when I start looking at the way other people do their what what they call parliament, it's actually pretty hilarious. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, at least these fucks
It's
don't wear them stupid wigs anymore.
yeah, I guess
The
that's
judges
true.
over there still have to wear them.
Yeah.
The judges over there wear them still, like they're like it's the 1700s and shit.
Yeah, so let me I'm gonna show you this one right here. This is in Canada, and then I know you had to have seen this recently. I'm gonna go over to New Zealand and show you the most recent one with the Maori, that Maori chick. I know you had to have seen this, but let me show you the part. It's just funny how they do shit. Let me pull this in up. Here we go. Got Trudeau.
Right Honorable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, Jasper was one of the most fire-smart communities in the country. Over the past years, residents and leaders within Jasper have been exemplary in making sure they were doing everything they could to protect their community. This fire, Mr. Speaker, was a treetop fire. It jumped from treetop to treetop and through flaming pine cones, kilometers into ahead of it, which is what set this burn. This is a result of climate change, Mr. Speaker. Climate change. He doesn't want to fight. Leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker.
Goofy as fuck, man.
Oh, what's Polar say? Oh, let me hear the
Classic.
retort.
Erratic, screaming, hollering is not going to tackle the problem of forest fires, screaming about flying pine cones, etc. It's true, the people of Jasper were fire smart. The problem is that the government in Ottawa was fire stupid. They were warned, this government was warned repeatedly over 7 years that they needed to clear the dead wood to prevent the spread of a future fire. Why, instead of bringing in a crippling carbon tax, didn't he clear away the wood and stop leaving a tinderbox to explode?
I just don't get why.
They start standing up.
Why does it take fucking Trump to say it's a hoax? He's the only politician on either side anywhere, well, except for a couple of Republicans, who'll say climate change is a hoax. You know, if you want to talk about global warming, the current warming period started 20,000 years ago. What the fuck are you talking about, right? Like, these people are fucking clueless.
What my man said is true. It's like, but you got to tend the forest. Like, you can't leave all that dead shit out there, because when it sparks, it's gonna burn the fuck up, man.
Well, I'm convinced all these fires we get are arson. These are like, this is like intentional. They set these things on fire and then say, look, climate change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they probably are. I mean, I will give you that.
See, this is the thing about Trump. Like, all this bullshit is just going to come to an end, I feel. Like, the first term that Trump was in, he was a terrible president because he was an establishment president. He did what the establishment wanted. He didn't do anything he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That needs there's hope there, but that needs to change. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it seems as though the people he's putting in place are solidifying the end of this woke era that we just went through, which I hope and pray is the case.
It's over. Yeah. Now we're gonna go over to New Zealand. We've got, I can't say this chick's name efficiently, so I'm not even gonna try it. But it looks like they had a bill coming through Parliament that was going to spread out some of the rights that the Maori have across with some of the other New Zealanders as well. And the Maori people aren't feeling that, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen some things about them claiming to be the indigenous people, but then I've seen some people say, no, they actually went in there and killed the indigenous people. and like ate them, and then like British folks came over there and colonized it and
Well, I
made
got
it
a
where they
guy.
stopped eating each other.
I got a guy over. You're talking about Australia, right?
No, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
It's
Sounds
same
the
thing.
same fucking thing.
Yeah, yeah. They both are the land down under. They both are.
Yeah. So my buddy Berserkus is from over there, and he says the goddamn Aborigines are all a bunch of fucking alcoholic degenerates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That sounds about right. Isn't that usually what happens? They get certain rights and certain privileges, and like, well, I'm just gonna drink and get high and talk shit. Yeah. So they were protesting this bill that they were putting forth. I know you had to have seen this because it's been all over everywhere. I mean, I've got multiple posts of it. It's got like 13 million views. Let me pull this up right here. Here we go.
Party Maori.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Do I have to watch this again? Oh my god.
Oti
Yeah, you do.
whakahe.
Oh my god. No. I'm gonna roll them eyes.
I ain't gonna make you watch the whole thing. The funniest
And then
thing
people
about
wonder
that,
why the racists are the way they are. I mean, give me a break. This is not civilized behavior.
the best thing about that is when he was sitting there and then she started. He's like, "Oh my fucking god, man! Every time we try to do something, she gets in this war chant. This ain't the
And
first
she's
time."
like 20 generations disconnected, man, from the fucking Aborigines. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like the same thing with like Native Americans. You get some like modern dude in blue jeans telling you he's
Yeah.
maintaining his Native American culture. Oh, really? Really? What does that mean?
It's man, when you gonna get your bow and arrow out and damn your spear and go out there and hunt for your food? Then,
Bro, the ship sailed. We
She-
genocided you. Sorry,
yeah.
we didn't mean to.
Look, but it just is what it is, man. There ain't no need to being pissed now. All right, the folks who should have been pissed are already dead. Okay, so it just kind of is what it is, man. This is what history looks like.
The idea that they
Unfortunately.
have land anywhere in this country that they can just keep the American government out of is pretty fucking amazing. Like, hey, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
ours.
that is
You
true.
know, get the fuck out of here, FBI. Like, props to them for having anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, hell, they can have casinos anywhere, can't they? As long as it's native land. They
Oh
just
yeah, but
plop
there's a
it
lot
up.
of politics behind that. Then you get into like
Oh,
the
is
upper
it?
class of the
Okay.
Native Americans who are the casino
Uh-huh.
mogul rich guys. They're hated. They're hated one percenters, just like amongst everybody else. So
Oh, is that right?
yeah, oh yeah. You think like these people have some sort of like
Huh.
continuity and congealment amongst their
Mm-hmm.
culture? No. These people are just like everyone else. They're monsters, just like us.
Bastards. That's what
Bastards.
you
Yeah.
say. Bastards. But boy, I'm gonna tell you what. But every day, my man right there has to go to work. This cat right here been pulling back up. Every day he has to go to work. He's like, man, I sure hope this shit works out. I mean, he's got that face just like that. He's like, boy, please let this thing go well, okay? Oh man, I thought it was funny. He was like, "Look, man, it's shut down into the ringing of the bells." I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. The ringing of the bells.
I don't
New
know.
Zealand, you know about New Zealand Parliament any type of way.
No.
Here's what I don't get. She was up there screaming about this shit. Man, I'm pretty sure that they were damn throwing folk in jail for damn smuggling Kentucky Fried Chicken across state lines or whatever. I'm like during COVID. I was like, where were y'all at during Jacinda Ardern? Did she not? Did she not have any say so over y'all, over the Maori? Could they still do their
I
own
think
thing?
she's in the wind. What's her deal these days? We haven't heard from her. I mean, she's one of the
Nah, but
COVID
she's
crowd.
gone. Yeah, she's gone. Dude, the COVID crowd, they're gone. All of them. Never to be heard from again.
Well,
Ever.
it's the wrong kind of never to be heard from again.
Oh, okay.
The kind I'd like to hear is like they got, sent to Davy Jones' locker or something like that.
It's the kind you want to actually hear.
Like wrap them in chains with an anchor and throw them overboard. I mean, that's the kind of never hear from them again I want.
But these people snuck out. The first one to sneak out was Debbie Burks. She snuck right out real quick. and
Yeah,
she's
but then she
been
came back and
quiet.
said some dumb shit on TV.
Oh yeah, she did one time. It's like-
These fucking people. See, they never have ever worried about being prosecuted ever. Ever. They've never. It's never been a thought. They'll fucking admit everything to the goddamn end because it's just how it goes. And
oh yeah,
hopefully Matt Gaetz will get in there and just fucking just roast all these people.
oh yeah, and man, whenever they're talking about COVID and well, we had Scott Jennings up there talking to the doing the debate on CNN panel. Uh, they were like, hey, yeah, the faith in our health agencies is down. It's like Scott's like, well, why do you think it's down? It's because of the y'all fucked up with COVID. They're like, no. I'm like, bro, the mask and all that stuff. Come on, man. I got Scott right up here. And I mean, they still adamant that all that stuff did something. I all
They
these
took your
years later.
advice.
I mean, yeah, they taking they lie to the grave, but I mean, they gonna die with it.
This whole issue of the CDC and these public health agencies, look, public trust in the health regime in this country is as low as it's ever
But
been.
why, Scott?
Because of COVID,
Right.
because of school closures, because of mask
wait,
mandates,
hold on.
because
Let me-
because
I'm
this
gonna let
country
Dr.
was
Lipkin
because
get
this,
in on
let,
this.
let me just finish, because this country was drugged through a bunch of condescending and heavy-handed mandates that all turned out to be garbage, and that's why it's low. And the
Scott,
questions are valid.
Scott,
And suddenly you're saying, well, if only there weren't these questions that I made up.
Mhm.
You cannot just create doubts and then blame the
Well,
doubts
wait.
that you created
The
for
doubts-
the skepticism.
The doubts in the public health regime in this country were not made up out of whole cloth.
I
They
guess-
are fully derivative of what happened to this country during COVID, and the people and the families and the businesses who were devastated by these mandates.
There are.
Yeah, but so yeah, they taking that lie to the grave, but they still believe it was all worth it. I'm like, but that was
They
if-
have
if
to
anybody
because
wanted to-
because if someone realized to what degree they were stupid and got duped, like they'll never admit to themselves.
yeah, and but that was the moment when you're and we all know that every year, there's inflation and your dollar has less and less purchasing power. But that's really when it took a damn wholesale swing of like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually it's incremental and you really didn't feel it that much, to be honest. But when the shit went up damn 22-30% grocery price and rent up and house prices up, and you're like, holy hell. And then wages stayed the same. It's like, okay, all right. You like people felt that pressure.
Well, here's the problem: wages go up now, or due to inflation, our shit ain't worth much. So, it's funny. After they fucked our economy like this, then they had no problem giving people $15 an hour. They fought $15 an hour for goddamn ever, and then as soon as the money wasn't worth it, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you 15." Oh no, bitch, I want 20 now.
They give you whatever. How much you say you want? Yeah, 15. Oh hell yeah. Yeah, we give you 15. Shit, we give you 25. So bust your ass either way. It don't make no difference. I said we coming for that money either way. So I mean, it's like I still go back to that time period, and like I appreciate people who've been able to maintain their lie all this time, but I know deep down inside they're like, I was fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what they got to be like all these years later, all your jabs later. You know what I'm saying? They ain't even telling you to go take one now. They ain't even saying nothing. They ain't even telling you to go take one. They might mumble it that they got a new one out. Have you seen an advertisement for one? I ain't even heard a commercial. I used to hear a commercial
I've
on the
seen
radio
the
all the time.
sign. There's a sign up at like Walmart or Target. I saw.
Oh, did they got the new one? Come get your new one.
Anybody gets COVID vaccine, you deserve to die for being stupid, for sure.
I mean, damn, Corey, is it that deep? I mean, man, so he deserved the true death. You know what I'm saying? We going out here with damn true blood, the true death. I mean, Oh boy. So Corey, let's jump over into this the long range missiles. Okay. Long range type stuff.
Okay, so
Uh
long range.
yeah,
Oh my
okay.
god.
So let me set the table for people. Let me set the table, okay? So it has been said that Ukraine was given the green light by the United States to use their long range missile technology to fire missiles into Russia. And then I'm gonna let Corey cook.
Here's the bottom line. Goddamn Putin is the most patient person on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that he just takes from the US, including everything that's happened in Ukraine, who US created this war. It's truly unfucking believable because anybody else who that shit would have happened to, he would have gone to all out war with. But I think Putin is probably the smartest politician on the planet in as far as dealing with the West. You see, Xi in China don't really give a fuck. He knows that ultimately the Chinese can, for the most part, stand on their own, and they're not dependent on the West. I mean, they are to a degree in their economy because we buy all the shit that they make because that's what we do. But Xi is smart, but he's more isolationist than Putin. Because here's the deal:
Mm-hmm.
Putin wants nothing more than to engage in trade with the West. He wants to sell the massive amounts of resources they have to the West, and there are direct financial competition. So that's part of the
Mm-hmm.
reason that we've had this kind of embargo against them forever and all the sanctions and all this bullshit. And it is bullshit. At the end of the day, I think the reason for the hatred against Russia is because it was the Russians who forced the Khazars into Europe around 1200. And I think it's a 1,000-year-old grudge that these Jews have against fucking Russia because
Mm-hmm.
they think 1,000 years at a time. And I think that's a big part of why Russia's been demonized so much. But the bottom line is we overthrew the country. We overthrew the government in Ukraine, 2014. Maidan coup is what it's called. And so that put NATO at the doorstep of Russia. That was a red line that he had been going over forever. Why Biden is getting pressured to allow this long-range missile thing is beyond me. If here's the problem. If a missile were to actually get past Russian air defense and were to do something like hit a building or the Kremlin, God forbid, it would be gloves off and we're fucked. We're fucked. You know why? Because what he would do is he would give the Iranians enough supplies, troops, and missiles to start taking out our bases, but he wouldn't do it directly. He would ensure that our standing starting in the Middle East, especially in Syria, goes away. That would be the first thing he does. He targets all that stuff. We have a bunch of bases in Syria and Lebanon and all over that place, all over. Those are going to be gone. If a missile actually hits the fucking Kremlin or somewhere in Moscow, one of these dude, he's not going to use nukes because he's not stupid like we are. But he will unleash a fucking a devastation on American interests like we've never seen before. And we're not going to be able to do shit about it. We have 500,000 soldiers, really, realistically. Half of them are trannies, I'm sure. And he's got 3 fucking million. Okay? He has 3 million. There's like 2 million soldiers just on standby. You know how you go through a couple of years and then you're in reserve for it?
Right.
He can call back up to like 2-point-something million people to come fight for him. And he will. You don't want to fuck with Russia. And if we're ever in a war with Russia, Iran, and China together, we're just done. If they're ever united against us in a war, they will. See, here's the thing. When you go back to World War II and you read about Hitler and his attitude towards Britain, that was really the big rival back then. He didn't want to destroy Britain. He needed the British Empire to be maintained. And he needed Britain to maintain their empire around the world. He saw that as a foothold for white people, basically. You know, he considered the British like a distant cousin or a close cousin of Aryans. He was little crazy with the race stuff. He took it a little too far, but he knew what the limits were, and he knew not to provoke Britain into an all-out war. The problem was Britain didn't feel the same way. Churchill was controlled by the Zionists. And so he kept doing bombing runs into the outskirts of Germany and destroying these villages and killing a couple thousand people at a time, innocent civilians. And then Hitler would have to respond, right? And it was a back and forth like this for a while. It was a tit for tat, kind of like bombing runs. And he didn't want to engage with that. But he had an enemy who was unreasonable. And that's where Russia's at. They have an enemy in the United States who is completely fucking unreasonable. So what I don't like is Trump's tough talk on Iran. Everybody should just leave Iran the fuck alone. If Israel wasn't constantly pulling off little bombing, excursions, they wouldn't even be talking about needing a nuke.
Mm-hmm.
They have never sought a nuclear weapon. Here they are recently, but that might just be propaganda. But they've never sought a nuclear weapon. The reason that Israel wants to destroy they keep saying Iran's building a nuke, they're going to build a nuke, and they had Netanyahu go in with the little bomb with the red line bullshit that he did years ago. And here's the reality. The reality is that Iran has to sell upwards of 40 to 50% of their oil for their economy to work. If they had nuclear power widespread all over the entire country, they wouldn't have to sell that oil on the open market. They could utilize it for within their own country and boost their own economy. So it's all about energy. That's what it is. That's what the nuclear program was for in Iran in the first place. It's about energy, not nuclear weapons. They don't need nukes because they got Russia, and they have basically a blood oath with Russia. Just like the Chinese do. The Chinese, the Iranians, and the Russians are fucking fed up with us. But notice, no matter how fed up they get with us, they don't attack us ever. They really don't. They don't do shit to us. They kind of just put up with our imperialism. And not because we're stronger than them. Because it's not politically, they want a political outcome. They don't want a force outcome, And so America just won't play ball. And why won't America play ball? And this takes us back to November 22nd, 1963, and Kennedy. And it's everything going on in the world today is directly correlated with Kennedy. Kennedy would have changed the world in a way that wouldn't allow for there to be an Israel. Therefore, Iran wouldn't be a problem. If Kennedy had lived, Israel wouldn't have taken over our country and replaced all of our politicians with Jews, and the administrative state as well. If you go and you look at all the, who's in the administration, it's all Jews these days. So, but yeah, it all goes back to Kennedy, and Kennedy would have ended Israel. And with no Israel, we wouldn't have the tensions in the world we have today, period. I have no doubts whatsoever that our massive imperial expansion is not for us and never has been. The Gulf Wars, none of that stuff, nothing that happened after 9/11, nothing that happened in the 90s, none of that had anything to do with us. We fight wars for Israel because they took over our country on November 22nd, 63. And I think everybody knows that. I fucking guarantee you Putin knows that.
Now they got up here that said these are the words that they wrote on this particular article. Said the strike represented a demonstration of force for Ukraine as it tries to show Western allies that providing more powerful and sophisticated weapons will pay off by degrading Russia's combat capabilities and relieving pressure on Kiev's overstretched forces.
All the stuff we're doing is illegal.
That statement. Yeah.
All acts of war have to be approved by Congress, but because of George Bush and his what was supposed to be a temporary issuance of power to allow him to just conduct war when he wants, that's what we still do. And the executive branch has just been doing nothing but fucking wars because they took the power that they shouldn't have had in the first place and haven't given it back. The way I see it, we're in a completely lawless land. I mean, it's the representatives who should have the power to declare war. You should have to have a majority, hell, a 2/3 majority. But no, the president can just go willy-nilly and start wars wherever he wants. Here's the problem: if we had a strong leader who knew what the fuck time it was, if we had our own Hitler type strong personality, sure. But no, what they did was they gave that power to the people who control the president, the people behind the teleprompter. They're the ones who have this war power. That's the problem. We don't have Trump is a strong man, but he demonstrated in his first term that he's a lackey. At least in that first term, he was. Hopefully, he'll demonstrate the traits of a strong leader this coming term, but I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
All right. Now I've got some stuff up here from a Ukrainian official and military analyst. Of course, they cautioned that no single weapon would change the course of the war, noted that the impact of the shift in White House policy would depend on the quantities of missiles being supplied. Now, Zelensky had pleaded for months for permission to use ATACMS to strike military targets inside of Russia. So the Biden administration finally relented and gave its assent, a decision that was driven in part by the addition of up to 10,000 North Korean troops to Moscow's war effort. Um, so I guess they're saying North Korea was involved in this too. I didn't
Well,
know
here's the
that.
thing. North Korea, I think they put 10,000 troops in Ukraine to fight with
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the Russians,
that's
but
what they're saying right up here.
I don't know
10,000
how.
North Korean troops.
I don't know what role Russia's had
Mm-hmm.
in training these guys, because North Koreans, man, they're like that's a whole nother ball of wax. Like, I don't know that they're functional in any way at all. Really, I mean, that's a country that's a totalitarian dictatorship, man. That's what they do over there is fucking
Oh
brutal.
yeah, straight up. Yeah, straight
So
up.
who knows if
Yeah,
those
folks
guys can
want to
even
talk
fucking
about it.
fight?
Yeah. Yeah, folks want to talk about a dictatorship. I mean, we can go drop you in North Korea. You know what I'm saying? I think they still rally folk
And
up,
here's
like
another
shoot them in
thing,
town square
like
and shit.
they're fucking missiles that they keep testing, Japan keeps freaking out about and stuff. They're like the bomb in fucking Back to the Future made of leftover pinball parts, right? Like, they do not have top of the line stuff in North Korea. So,
Okay.
but Putin, I have no doubts, keeps him in check. If it wasn't for Putin, you never know what he might do. But we're not going to have to fear anything from North Korea as long as Putin's around. Really, the world needs Putin
Okay.
around as long as goddamn possible.
All right. Now they talk about. I've got this post that somebody put up about Russia's dead hand system. Have you ever heard of that?
They're what?
The dead hand. I'm gonna play
No.
this video that they got right here. Let this go.
If the USA and UK launch a coordinated missile attack on Russia, destroying all major cities and killing President Putin along with the entire military leadership, Russia has a backup system in place for retaliation, the dead hand. This automated system is designed to respond to such a scenario. Sensors across Russia will collect data on radiation, heat, and seismic activity, confirming a nuclear strike. The system will then await instructions from Moscow's command center. If no response is received, Dead Hand will assume the leadership has been wiped out. At that point, the system will autonomously launch approximately 4,000 nuclear missiles at the USA and its NATO ally, triggering global devastation. Destruction will be widespread, ensuring that even in death, Russia retaliates. This kind of automated retaliation system ensures that no matter the outcome, the consequences of such an attack would be catastrophic. In the end, the use of nuclear weapons guarantees mutual destruction, a grim reminder of the fragile balance of power.
Dead hand. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I mean, I'm sure that everybody's got a system like that,
Yeah, something similar to that. It's like, okay, you got us, but don't worry, I'm gonna wipe your place out too.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just like, it kind of harkens back to the movies when it's like, give me $1 billion or I'll destroy the planet. It's like, yeah, I mean, when you destroy the planet, then what you gonna do? It's like, shit, I ain't think about that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the Austin Powers movies.
Yeah.
That's what it
$1
kinda
million.
yeah. Which I don't know. In the '90s, you got $1 million, boy. Boy, you
I
were
know.
high
It's like
on the
having 20
hog.
bucks today.
Yeah, you were high on the hog, no doubt about it. Yeah. So there are people out there who are saying that this could be the spark of World War III. This particular missile strike. Corey, do you feel that that's the case?
No,
No, I don't. I
no,
don't either. It don't. It doesn't seem like you said. He doesn't seem to be actually too worried about Ukraine. To be
no.
honest.
No. At the moment, it's about it's about maintaining the land that they currently have. They annexed 4 regions, the Donbass and that whole eastern side of the country.
Hmm.
That's all. Those people are all Russian speaking. It's just like Crimea. People are like, well, he took Crimea. Well, no, he didn't. Crimea joined Russia by a lawful vote of the Crimean government as the Ukrainian government was trying to break down the door.
Hmm.
They joined Russia because they used to be part of the Soviet Union, and they're still an ethnically Russian people. See, this is kind of like what Hitler did or was attempting to do that led to World War II. He was attempting to reunite the Germanic people who, over the past 50 to 75 years through various wars, had been separated from the homeland, right? That was kind of the whole thing.
Hmm.
He didn't expect the pushback from Churchill. Now, us in America, we're not going to enter a military conflict with Russia directly like that because they'll beat us. So we do stupid shit like sanctions. And what did sanctions do? Created BRICS. It created a whole
Right.
nother system. Right now, China, Iran, and Russia all have an integrated financial system. They can do like wire transfers and stuff back and forth with each other in various currencies. They don't need us. They don't need the SWIFT system. And between those 3 countries, they got more resources than we do. So our imposing sanctions on
Right.
Russia backfired enormously.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't really work out at all. They were expecting that to cripple their economy, but
Well, here's the
that
bottom
that
line. We
didn't
have this
work.
fake notion that democracy is a real thing, which is not. And that this thing we have in America is democracy, and that we need to change the leader every 4 years to maintain this facade. But
Hmm.
the reality is, the world was built by fucking kings for 100,000 years.
Right.
The
Yeah.
foundation of everything that we know was built by kings and strong leaders who were there for goddamn life. And if you didn't like it, then their son came in and took over. Like, we're fortunate that we have a system that doesn't allow people to be there for goddamn ever. But every once in a while, somebody comes along who knows what the fuck time it is and does the job and just does what the country wants. And that's Putin in Russia. And he has to unfortunately dance through hoops or jump through hoops because of the system and how he gets reelected. It's like every 6 years, and he couldn't have so many back to back. So if you'll remember, like a couple years ago, he had someone else as president for like 2 weeks, and then he's like, "Yeah, that's enough of a show. Let me take back over again." Right. So he can't go in there and just fucking be like, "I'm staying forever." But what should
Right.
happen realistically is, I would say, put Sergei Lavrov in charge and have Putin take on an advisory role. Wink, wink. A permanent
Hmm.
advisory role, and let him stay in the presidential palace. Whatever. So, but no, America hates the idea that the functional forms of government are strong to almost borderline authoritarian leaders. But we're authoritarian in America. We just don't think so because we got Starbucks and iPhones and this illusion of freedom. So,
Starbucks and apples.
have you ever seen like what Moscow or St. Petersburg look like? They're fucking stunningly beautiful. There aren't homeless people shitting on the fucking sidewalk, and there's no graffiti, and they're absolutely amazing, gorgeous cities that I wish that we could do or have here in America, but we won't because I hate to say it, but liberal democracies don't work. They just fucking don't. They're stupid. The whole notion of it's stupid. The idea that I'm going to ask my dumb neighbor who's got 6 kids and is retarded, fucking, what his opinion is on something he's never studied is absolutely a joke. So we're not a democracy. Like, we're just not. It's a fraud. And the only thing that counters that for me ever is the fact that Trump actually won this thing in a landslide, which to some degree shows me an indication that maybe voting works, but maybe somebody just didn't steal hard enough. I don't know. Probably what it is.
Well, the one thing that we do know is that he got a similar amount of votes that he got the last time, and then the other side got like 10 million less votes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
how that happened?
Yeah. So I saw an analysis of that, like a brief analysis right around
Hmm.
the time of the election. And it was interesting because when they padded the election, they didn't pad it all on one side. They had to pad it in a ratio. So they threw fake Trump votes in there too to balance out they might do it at a rate of 3-1, but that's what they did. Because when you look at the Trump votes, they are up from what was this year. Not by a lot, but still, it was enough to tell that the pattern was broken and that they had padded both sides. So
right.
So fucked up. They're so fucked up. The 2020 to 2024 will go down as like the worst era of American history. It should. It's worse than anything I can think of.
The worst ever. But hey, that could be one of your future books. The worst era of American history. You just give it a breakdown 2020 to 2024.
Like as far as history goes, like I don't pay
March.
attention to much after 1968. To me, the end of the line is 68. I don't give a fuck about Iran Contra. I don't give a fuck about anything post really Robert Kennedy. And honestly, I don't really give too much of a fuck about that. But it's just a marker because that's kind of the final stages of the takeover, which began with Kennedy.
Okay. Yeah. But that'd be an interesting book. The worst era in American history.
So speaking of books, like I've been meaning to, like I already have my next book outlined, 16 chapters on how Israel killed Kennedy, and I'm getting goddamn distracted by other Kennedy stuff.
The Oswald thing.
Fucking Oswald thing. Jesus fucking Christ. Here, before we get out of here, let me just show you this one picture real quick.
Okay.
And then you can tell me what's going on here because I'm starting to lose my mind. God damn it. My fucking computer's on the way out, people. My computer is freaking out. And if someone wants to buy me a new Mac Mini, I would love to have it because this computer is going to die on me.
Is it the Mac Mini?
It's taken this long just to open my browser, just to open up my fucking Windows Explorer to get my file to open up for you. This is how long it's taking.
So it's moving.
I'm just in my Windows Explorer. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel the pain of that.
Oh, it's hurting. I just double clicked it and the shit's doing nothing. Here we go. Now it's opening. So
okay.
Let me share this real quick. Here,
okay, and if y'all don't know what he's talking about, Corey's been doing a whole lot of research on Lee Harvey Oswald and his mother and how they seem to be in multiple locations at one time.
So on the picture on the left is allegedly Lee Harvey Oswald as he's graduating at the end of 1956, platoon number 2060. The picture on the right is supposed to be the same guy 4 months later when he graduates from Biloxi Radio School. Does that even look remotely close to the same fucking guy? Sure as fuck don't to me. The guy on the right's got a big fat fucking neck. The guy on the left has a kink on his left ear. Like, that's not even close. Look at his chin. Look at the chins. It's two different chins. This is not the same person. Look at his nose. Two different noses. This is absolutely not the same fucking person. And this is what we've been, this is one example of literally 100 examples that I could make going all the way back to 1947 with duplicate fucking people around. So I'm going to be going over this in depth on Friday night on Fresh and Fit. So I advise everybody to tune in.
Yeah, he'll be on I'm pretty sure the whole stream will be on Rumble. So that's probably the place that you're going to go want to go watch that. Because I think they did that last time. They had a part of it on YouTube and then they cut and did the whole full stream on Rumble. So that's probably where you're going to want to go. Fresh and Fit. This would be Corey's second appearance up there. And Corey's been working diligently, okay? And he's been almost going insane. Send prayers for him because he's been banging his head up against a brick wall with Lee Harvey Oswald and his mother, who might be multiple women in multiple locations at one time, owning multiple apartments and seeing in multiple places all at the same time. And so, yeah, we're not exactly sure what's going on there.
Well, here's the deal. You got to remember, like in the early days of the CIA, they didn't have systems fully worked out and they were experimenting with covert operations. And their number one priority post World War II, like literally the day the war ended, the day World War II ended, Soviet Union was the new enemy. Doesn't matter that they were our partners for a decade in trying to beat the Nazis. The split second we won the war, they became enemy number one. And so it's fucked up. It's fucked up. And after the war, they were figuring out spy tactics and spy techniques, and they wanted to get a spy in the Soviet Union, but they had a problem with using dead people because the Russians aren't stupid. And if you're using the identity of a dead person, they can figure it out. Don't matter if they're in a different country, even it was 1950s.
Gotcha.
So you could never use the dead identity because it would come back. And so the idea is if you raise somebody with a duplicate identity, then when they do the background checks, that person's got a full life history. Might not be their life history, but there's a full life history attached to them in that name. Another thing that I caught in Kennedy a lot, and this taught me something too, is that the aliases that these people would use were often the alias of the person. It was a real name of a real person. And that real name of a real person would be shared by multiple people using the same alias. So when they do the research on the alias, they would find a real person. But I have multiple incidents. One in particular with a guy named Angelo Thomas Caston, who was arrested in Dealey Plaza. So there was something going on with him because he actually he talks to the FBI talks to him, and then the Dallas police go out and they pick him up and they talk to him and they show him the FBI report of his fucking testimony. He's like, I never met with the FBI. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Right? So yeah, so that shit happens. Like the name swap was used in that situation, obviously.
Okay.
You know, and they actually got a statement from somebody who then turned out to not even be the guy, which is fucking even crazier. But that's just how that's how the alias game was played back then. In the modern era, they can probably just fake someone's history. They just go in the little computer and they fake a driver's license, they fake a history, they fake school records. I mean, they can do all that shit. Back in the 60s, they had to fake stuff on a typewriter. So Oswald's stuff, the FBI or the Dallas police go to 1026 North Beckley and they go to Ruth Payne's house and they end up collecting 230 pieces of evidence. The very next day, in secret, the FBI comes, takes all that evidence, but when they return it to them on the 26th of November, they return over 450 pieces of evidence. So they collected 230 and they were returned 450. And when you go through and you look at the some of the things that they had collected that they say were evidence against Oswald that proved certain dates, like his work history, he just so happened to have his old 6-7-year-old tax paperwork with him with certain dates on it, right? So John Armstrong went out and did some research and had an analyst look at all the documentation that the FBI had allegedly returned to the Dallas Police Department. And he found the vast majority of all the tax documentation and stuff relating to Oswald's work record, no matter what company it was, no matter what city it was in, no matter what year the document was produced, all of them seemed to be typed on the same typewriter.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting, huh? So they used to fake stuff on paper then, but you can't do that today because you get busted. And see, none of that evidence did they actually give to the Dallas police. They gave them photographs or copies of where the originals no longer exist, right? Like the money order Oswald ordered the rifle with. It doesn't exist. It's nowhere. All that the FBI even has is a picture of it, right? Because they faked the stuff. And so they can't give you the stuff they faked because it's got the markings of them faking shit, right? But they can take a picture, make it all blurry. One thing I'm noticing is that I'm going through these military records. And you know what's funny? Every single fucking person's military record who isn't Oswald that I've seen, the photocopy is like perfectly clear. You can read everything that's on there. You get Oswald's and like 2/3 of it is like so faded you can't even read what's there. Really? How the fuck did you maintain all them other records perfectly, but Oswald's are all fuzzy? Give me a break. It's all bullshit.
Look, it's coincidence, Corey. Look, chalk it up to coincidence, okay? Isn't that what they say? I mean, that's what we're going to do now. So, we appreciate everybody for being with us tonight on this episode of Beyond the Cube. We'll be with y'all next Tuesday for our Thanksgiving special, okay? Right before the holidays. And as we said, make sure you're checking out Corey. He'll be on Fresh and Fit.
Oh, and I'll be on
Friday
William
night.
Ramsey on Friday too at like 1 p.m. So if people are
Well,
around for
okay,
that.
so you're gonna be. Oh, Corey's gonna be tired on Friday. Hey, send prayers for Corey. Corey's gonna be wore the fuck out. Okay, that about it. What time you gonna be on Fresh and Fit?
I think late, like
Probably 7
something like that.
p.m. Eastern,
Something like that.
probably 7 or 8. I think that's when they usually do those shows. So probably around 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you're checking that out. Bloodyhistory.substack. If you want some true history, Corey's your man. Okay, best historian I know, no doubt about that. Number one JFK researcher. Got the number one JFK book. Corey Hughes. Make sure you get that. So yeah, we appreciate everybody for being with us tonight. We'll be with y'all next week on another episode of Beyond the Cube. And me and Corey are gonna try to watch some shows, some Rings of Power, and be bringing that to y'all in Christmas, as well as some Doom Prophecy, which I've heard some bad things about the first episode.
Oh,
So I'm
really?
kind of scared. Yeah, from Neurotic, and he's usually pretty spot on. Um, so I'm a little worried, but let's see what we got. So Showtime with the Cube will be back with you in December. So from Boy HQ 420, co-host Corey Hughes, catch you on the next Beyond the Cube. Peace out.